Well, for more analysis, we can speak now to Cécile Perrot, who is a lecturer at Rennes University and also a specialist on South Africa. Thank you so much for speaking to us. The ANC is widely expected to win again, but with a reduced majority. Is that the forecast that you're envisaging for this election?
Yeah, no, definitely. Those elections can be seen as a relative success for the ANC, and more specifically for Ramaphosa, who replaced former corrupt President Jacob Zuma in February 2018, because the latest polls suggest that the ANC will get between 55 and 60% at a national level. However, it's a relative success because, as mentioned in the report, the new president will have to face major challenges such as a sluggish economy, an education system that will require a major upheaval as well. It's ineffective to a large extent. You've got problems of very high unemployment as well. So you've got major challenges, and those challenges Ramaphosa will have to face in a very difficult context with an ANC that is mired in corruption, with a very vocal opposition, especially on the part of the economic freedom fighters that stand to double their election results and should reach 10% of national votes. And also in a context of distrust on the part of South Africans. A recent poll suggests that 40% of South Africans do not believe in any political party whatsoever. And this is at the national level. And then you also have the provincial level, where the situation is even more complex for the ANC, because two of the wealthiest provinces will probably not remain or come under the control of the ANC. The Western Cape should remain in the hands of the Democratic Alliance, and Gauteng will probably be led by a coalition of parties, and maybe Northern Cape. So the situation is difficult for the ANC that really needs to prove that it can do it right by South Africans after 25 years in power. So.
Yeah, okay, so you've touched on lots of key issues there. Let me pick you up on a couple of them. Notably, President Ramaphosa, he's been in office for about 15 months now. Just more specifically on his track record during those 15 months, how do you rate his performance and how well has he done in sort of shaking off that reputation that the ANC has had and which it earned under Jacob Zuma of being corrupt?
He managed to reassure to a certain extent South Africans, but at the same time, his actions are limited by the fact that within the ANC, the Zuma faction is still powerful, and that because of a decade of state capture, a lot of the major positions in state firms and also within major institutions are actually being held by people who are corrupt and who have a very negative reputation among the general public. So he's done the job to a certain extent, but it will take very long for the image of the ANC to be really well, to be seen as positive again.
Yeah, just looking forwards then from this election to, let's say, future elections, and if you're saying that, there is competition out there and other parties are managing to close the gap between them and the ANC, I'm wondering just how meaningful the threat is, let's say, for the next set of elections in South Africa if the ANC doesn't manage to turn things around in time. Who and what represents, do you think, the biggest of those threats out of the other parties in the running?
At a national level, I think the ANC is safe for another election at least. At a provincial level, it gets increasingly difficult to retain control. And the economic freedom fighters appear to be a real threat if they manage to double their election results this time around. The Democratic Alliance suffers from its link to the perception that it is a white party still, although it has a black leader, although they've tried to really change this image, they suffer from that, and it will probably be a limit to their evolution nationally. But the economic freedom fighters are really doing pretty well. Still a minor party, but becoming increasingly vocal at a national level.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for sharing that analysis with us. South Africa specialist Cécile Perrot.